What's up, my YouTube family? Sergeant Graybeard with the Gaming Brigade, back with another Division 2 video, and one of the questions I frequently get asked at the channel is, what is my favorite build in the game? You know, what is my go-to build no matter what, like if I had to pick one, all that good stuff. Now, I have three that I typically run with, and because it's the end of the year, I figured now is the perfect time to share those builds with you. Now, realistically, you've probably seen these builds earlier in the year. It could have been like 5 months ago, 6 months ago, whatever it is. I also do different variations of them, but these are my go-to ones. This is exactly how I run with them, and I hope you enjoy it. Now, if you happen to be new to the channel, first of all, welcome. Secondly, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. We would love for you to be a part of our gaming family. And if you enjoyed this or found it helpful at all, do me a favor, my friends, hit that like button. It really does help us out. So yesterday when I put out a message saying I was going to take the next 3 days and highlight, 3 of my favorite builds, it was pretty obvious. And a lot of you, thank you so much, guys, for the awesome comments, made, the comment that I bet he's going to do a Scorpio build, and there's no way I could actually end the year without highlighting one of my favorite ones. One thing I always mention at the beginning of any build video I put together is I want to remind you this is just a template. This is one of so many ways you can run with a build like this. I mean, I've done different versions. The most important thing is truly take your time and make a build your own. As always, my friends, we're starting off with a little bit of gameplay footage, then we're going to cut to the build itself, and then at the end of the video, a little more footage, and I want to go over a few tips for new and returning players that should hopefully get you started anytime you're trying out a new build. You can see here I'm on heroic content and I'm having no problem getting through the NPCs. And this is a build I use for missions that I'm comfortable with, different bounties. I use this in the summit. And one of the reasons I really like this gear set is because for me, before the Hunter's Fury gear set, before the Scorpio shotgun, my gameplay was much different. It wasn't as aggressive as it is now. However, with the introduction of these items to the game, it changed everything. And for me, it became so much more enjoyable. Now, as we get into the build breakdown itself, I want to make sure I mention with the gear that you're seeing here, this is the best gear I have for this build. I do a lot of farming in the game. Like for instance, the chest piece, we'll get into that in a minute. I wish it was a little bit different, but again, I want to highlight that even though it's not perfect, it can still get the job done. Starting off with the specialization, I'm using Gunner primarily so I get that extra armor on kill. I like having that with my build. However, Firewall is another great option, and regardless of which specialization you choose, make sure you have the proper weapons activated in your skill tree. That way you're always getting that 15% weapon damage bonus. Now, for those of you familiar with my channel, it should be no surprise whatsoever. My primary weapon is the Scorpio shotgun. As I said, it is my favorite weapon in the game, without a doubt. Again, this weapon in Hunter's Fury and, using an SMG completely changed my gameplay. As you can see here, the thing is a monster. Now, if you do not have it as yet, I will make sure to leave a farming video on how to get the Scorpio in the description down below. Moving on to my secondary, it's a Vector that I absolutely love. I'm using the Talent Close and Personal because with this build, you're pretty much always close to the NPCs. For my sidearm, I have a TDI card with the Talent Close and Personal on that. To be honest, I never really use that thing. Now onto the gear itself, you can see I'm running 4 Hunter's Fury, 1 Badger Tough, and the Memento backpack. Starting off with the mask, it's the first of 4 Hunter's Fury gear set pieces we have equipped, and we're running with all 4 so we get all of these gear set bonuses. You can see that the 2-piece gives you 15% shotgun and SMG damage, 3-piece is 20% armor on kill and 100% health on kill, and the 4-piece is Apex Predator. Enemies within 15 meters receive a debuff, amplifying your weapon damage against them by 20%. Killing a debuffed enemy with your weapon disorients other enemies within 5 meters and amplifies weapon damage by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Moving on to the body armor, it's the 1 piece of Badger Tough I have equipped, so I get that 10% shotgun damage bonus, and as you can see, I have the Talent Intimidate on here. While you have bonus armor, it amplifies weapon damage by 35% to enemies within 10 meters. Now, this happens to be the best Badger Tough vest I have for this specific build. I obviously re-rolled the Talent Intimidate on there because I wanted it for this build. I wish I had the option of changing, the core attribute to weapon damage or just having the ability to swap back and forth. But again, work with what you have, and as you can see, even though it's not perfect, it still gets the job done. And as we move on to the 3 remaining pieces of the Hunter's Fury gear set, which is the holster, the knee pads, and the gloves, when I reference making a build your own, I'm talking about little details such as you can see right here, weapon damage for me is what I've chosen as my core attribute. However, let's say if I want more armor, I'm going to make that switch so my armor goes up a bit. So again, that's why I always say try out different variations, figure out your time to kill, how long is it taking you to take out an NPC, are you getting killed too quickly, and make those adjustments, my friends. Last but not least, we have the backpack, and again, this is one of those things where you have so many different options to run with. Now, when I'm running solo, and that part's important, and you can use this in a group as well, but if I'm running solo, I always use the Memento because each time you pick up one of those trophies, you're getting a buff to your weapon damage, armor, and skill efficiency. However, with that being said, remember, if you choose to use a build like this when you're running with a group, remember, not only is there NPC scaling, so the NPCs are going to be tougher, but you may not be taking out as many NPCs as you would, obviously, if you were solo. Therefore, you're not picking up as many trophies, so make sure when you're in a group, you see how the build actually works. One of the things I tend to do with a build like this is depending on what the other guys are running, because usually, I use random matchmaking, so it takes me a second to see what everyone else is running with, but I know with this build I can make a quick swap to like something like this with Adrenaline Rush, so that way I'm always getting that bonus armor regardless of how many NPCs I take out. Because look, when you're in a group sometimes people are quick, man. They'll take out an NPC and rep up their trophy, and also you only get trophies for the NPC that you actually take out. So a bonus a talent like Adrenaline Rush really helps out. It gives you that bonus armor which has a direct effect on your talent on the chest. Another great talent that I know a lot of people use is Bloodsucker, but remember, with that talent, again, you are going to get that bonus based on killing an NPC. It is not about your proximity to them. So again, in a group, my opinion, using Adrenaline Rush. As far as my skills are concerned, using the Crusader Shield because things always get sideways, and I also have the Assault Drone equipped because it is a distraction to NPC and puts out damage as well. And as I start to wrap this video up, my friends, I want to take a minute and pass along a few tips to new and returning players which should hopefully help out. And the number one thing I recommend is anytime you're trying out a new build, go to a mission, control point, bounty, whatever it may be that you're comfortable with. That way you know the timing of the NPC. The other thing I recommend is have versions of a build that you can make a quick swap to 1 or 2 pieces, so that way, obviously there are times when you do random matchmaking, you're thrown right into the mix, and at that point you can't switch your full builds because you're in the middle of combat. But having the choice of switching 1 or 2 items can really help your gameplay until the dust settles and you may want to make a bigger switch entirely. But that way, if you just have to swap to a backpack, go into cover, swap to the new bag, and then get ready for the gameplay. Most of you know that one of my favorite aspects about putting these build videos together is the community we have here at the channel. I mean, I love hearing your feedback, your ideas, so as always, my friends, let me know how you like to run with the Scorpio Hunter's Fury build, what you like to do. Again, the main goal is to pass along as much information as possible. On that note, I'm going to let the rest of the video play out. However, as always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible support and remind you, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well. But most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.
Target agent.
Enemy wants to flank! Got my target.